It's easy to give up. It's simple to put down your paintbrush and never return to your project. It's so convenient to just stop what you're doing and work on anything else other than your art. The world needs your art, and sticking to it takes guts. Walking away is simple, but to move forward in your trade is challenging. This is Brushwork. We live in a complicated time, to say the least, when our rights are being taken away, when we have so much natural disaster going on, it's overwhelming, when you can hear about problems happening on the planet on your phone at any time of day, all the time. And also, you have to do normal life things like pay your mortgage and get good grades and listen to your boss. And on top of all that, you have family obligations and holidays and birthdays and keeping your relationships alive. And it's no wonder that the first things to drop are things that make us happy and creativity. Continuing to make art on top of all of this is so vital for the joy of being human, for keeping us afloat, not giving up our power to things that are cruel and complicated and just and terrible. We must keep making art. Making art is so important to continuing to grow as humans. When we stop making art, we stop communicating, we stop showing our emotions and being real with people. If you stop making art, if you put down your paintbrush, you are eliminating a source of connection with everyone else. And that is not what we need right now. If you're anything like me, you've been thinking, wow, it is so tough to be human right now. It's so tough to look at everything and just be so overwhelmed and getting anxious and having terrible dreams and waking up crying and things like that. And I've been experiencing this, and maybe you have too, but if I put down the paintbrush and I only focus on those things, if I remove the aspect of my life that is creating, I will just be more miserable. You have to keep making art. Sometimes you're going to see people on social media and they are only showing their artwork, or they're influencers and they're only showing the products that they're selling or things like that. And they're not talking about current topics. And you're like, do they have their head in the sand? What's going on? Why aren't they speaking about these horrible atrocities that are happening, or the weather that's destroying my town, or whatever it is? And it's not that. If we stop creating, if we stop showing the things that bring us joy, whether that's online or to our friends, and we only focus on horrible things that oftentimes I cannot control or even assist with, it's not that they're ignoring it. It's more that they are choosing to share the things that bring happiness. Maybe they're under contract, and maybe they have deadlines and things like that, and that also takes part of the play. When I see people get upset with artists when they are not talking about current events, it's not that they're not talking about it at all. It's that they're choosing to share their artwork. It's not that they're silencing things. It's that they are creating a space that is for the creativity. It's hard to live in trauma. I don't think we're meant to be thinking about the horrible things in the world all the time. I want to encourage you today to keep making, and even more importantly, keep sharing your artwork. You've chosen to try something out that takes 10 years of being a beginner to even move forward to intermediate. You have year 1 and 2, and you're like, okay, maybe I got the hang of this. And then you get to year 3, and you're like, I'm wrong, and I still don't know anything. And you do that for 10 years, and then you suddenly are intermediate now, and you're making your work. And you've chosen to take on a path like that, which is a big deal. And I want you to keep going on your journey, keep going on your artwork, and keep going and being curious and making things. And it's okay to put down your paintbrush as long as you pick it up again. You know, when you've chosen a trade that takes a decade of being a beginner before you even move into any kind of skill, which is the brutal but really true reality of being an artist. Keep making art, keep trying new things, keep discovering new materials, keep practicing the minutia of the technicalities. Keep being tedious and loud about how much you like creating. It's when we as artists keep sharing our work and keep showing how much joy we have in it and how much interest we have in it and how obsessive we are about making art. We are showing color and we're giving communication. And it's not like we're not hitting on hard topics, because we are. It's just in a way that is not so literal. It's art, right? It's something that's vague and interesting and hard to measure. And that's so fun. Keep making your work, keep drawing, keep learning, keep looking for new opportunities, keep finding teachers, and start taking on students once you get to that point, and start trying to stream your work and start taking photos of it and putting it on Instagram or whatever. Like, keep drawing, keep going forward. I need to see your art. I need to see it, because I need to know that the world is not only climate change and politicians and trauma and obligation, but it's also creativity and life and interest and obsession and fun. I need the balance. And I think you might as well. When you make art, it makes me want to make art. When I make art, I hope it encourages you to keep creating. Don't stop making art because things seem hard. Keep making art despite it. When you keep creating, you are taking back the power from people who would want to see you give up. Ew, gross. We don't do that here. That's cringe. Keep making work because you have the capability for it. Keep making your paintings and your drawings and your sculptures and your music and your pottery and everything because you have the capability of it, and you have the tenacity to stick to it. Art brings community. Art brings connection. Art brings life and interest and color, just literal color into our world. And if you stop, that's just one more source of it leaving. Don't let the hard of life defeat you. Rise to the challenge of making art in a tough time. We're not choosing the easy way. We're not choosing, I'm gonna take one little class and then never make things again. Even if your artwork is consisting of, I'm collecting art materials at the store because that's what makes me happy. Like, keep consuming artwork, keep talking about artists, keep pursuing going to museums and going to shows and supporting your friends who also are creatives, and keep giving people coloring books for holidays, and keep asking for more art supplies for your birthday, and keep going to the stacks at the library and checking out art books and discovering people that have been making art in tough times for millennia. At the same time that I say this, I also want to say it's okay to take a break, right? As long as you reach out and pick up the paintbrush once more. If you take a break, don't let it become quitting. Make sure you come back to it. The world needs your art. I have a couple of exercises for you, a couple of tips, a couple of hints, a couple of ways of thinking to help you keep creating when you're feeling super overwhelmed by the planet and you're waking up to bad news, and that just is like, oh my gosh, it's a lot. So I have a couple of tips for you today that maybe you can try implementing to keep you going when things are so anxious that you want to stop painting. Don't do that. Don't stop painting. Okay, so here's my first one. Number one is, don't spend the first hour of your day on your phone. I am guilty of this. When I wake up, I check my phone like almost immediately. And honestly, there is just nothing on there that needs to have my full and undivided attention for the first hour of the day, like even the first 30 minutes of the day. If you can have a moment of your morning where you've set your alarm clock and the only thing you're touching on your phone is turn off alarm, and then you have moments of just silence and being with your loved ones or your pets or whatever it is that you live with, and just having that quiet to center yourself for the day, you will have a less anxious day, you will feel less depressed, and you will feel like, okay, I can actually handle whatever's going to come my way. Give it a go. Try having your morning tea or your coffee or your breakfast or your silence without your cell phone and see what that's like, even for the first 10 to 20 minutes. This is not like really easy habit to build, but give it a go. Recommend putting your phone in another room for the first couple of days of trying this, because it'll be hard to remember that you're even trying to do this. My second piece of advice for keeping creating is making sure that when you leave your creative space each day, it's ready for your next day. So at the end of my painting day, I'm cleaning the studio and I'm putting out the colors on my palette for tomorrow's painting, right? The brushes are clean and they're ready to go. That way at the end of each day, I'm preparing for the next day, or future planning here. And this plans out, this works. When you come to your studio next, you might be in the zone of like brain fog, static screaming, right? But having everything ready to go for you will help you get out of that much quicker. Number 3, keep posting your work to social media. Keep showing your work. I want to see your good art. I want to see your bad art. I want to see your silly sketches, and I want to comment on things. Number 4, comment on your friends' work. When you are seeing people's art on Instagram and it brings you some sort of feeling, tell them about it. This is how we connect literally. We talk to them. Even if you aren't friends with them, even if they are just people you like their work of, be like, this is so cool. And bring that sort of joyfulness and playfulness and interest and get just nice comments. I know that you know this. You probably get terrible, mean things said to you on the internet. I mean, I do as a YouTuber. And it just like, it sucks. But when I get a nice comment, I'm like, this is the best day ever. Okay, so leave nice comments. You need to get out of your brain. And to do this, you need to physically shock yourself out of the sensation of whatever anxiety is happening. Here are my favorites. You're going to find out what works for you, but I like sour things to eat. Sour candies like take me all the way out of my anxiety usually. It's kind of incredible and weird, and chemistry is weird. Number 2 is going for a walk. Number 3 is putting on music. So I'm feeling that sensory and like getting my earbuds and just like really listening to an album. Getting out of your mind fog, crazy anxiety is easiest through your senses. Finding something that tastes interesting, that sounds interesting, that feels interesting, that gets your heart rate up in a way that's not panic attacky. It works for me. Maybe it'll work for you. Figure out what does work for you. And my last item is try and learn something new. Find something that you can be a total and complete beginner at in a way that if you fail at that thing, it's because you're a beginner, not because you're a bad artist. Okay? If you fail at that thing, it's because you're a beginner and not a bad artist. Finding something you're a beginner at, finding a new material, a new way of drawing. Like, I learned botanical drawing for the first time a while ago, and I was like, oh, I'm not good at this, but I want to be good at this. And it was like, I failed so often, and it was so interesting, and give it a try. So, y'all, keep making art. Keep posting about it, keep sharing it, keep creating it, keep interacting with other people's work. The world needs your art. I need your art. So make some art, all right? Friends of Pose, thank you for listening to Brushwork Podcast. I'm taking a break for the rest of December, but you'll see me back in 2025 with some brand new episodes. It's going to be awesome. Take care and make good choices. Goodbye.